So today is a big day. This is the day I'm gonna buy my first analog camera. I'm in Centro Histórico in Mexico City, and I brought my friend Wesley, who is gonna help me pick out my first analog camera. So Wesley, what do we have here?
You can't really go wrong with any of these three cameras as your first starter camera. They're simple, they can do so much, and they're perfect to learn on if you've never done any analog shooting before like yourself. When I was a kid, I actually started off with this camera. This was my father's camera, and it became my first camera, and he taught me how to shoot on this camera. So I'm a little bit biased towards this one for you as your first camera. All three of these have a 50mm lens on them, which I think is a really nice lens to start with because it's quite versatile. You can do portraits, you can do street from a little up close, all different kinds of things.
Hola amigo. What are the differences you would say between each?
Between these two, there's not really a mistake to make. If you compare these, you can actually see how similar they are. You have the same max shutter speed of 1000. That's the same on this guy, which means, you know, being used to shooting digital, you can go way faster than that. So that's something that you're gonna have to learn. You can only go as high as 1000.
I usually go 250 and a lot of shots I do anyways.
Yeah, it's just a little harder when you're doing like very action-oriented photos because then you want to, it'd be great to have 2000s for that. But if that's not really what you do, then that's fine. This has that engine on it, which means that you can do some continuous shooting, which I don't think you really need. I just wanted to show you what that looks like for the future. Once you really fall in love with analog, maybe you'll want to do that.
It's also a really expensive feature in an analog camera.
Not really. It's
no,
only...
but you can take 20 photos like this.
Oh, in that sense, yes. It's expensive in the sense that you start shooting too much. Yeah. That's true.
But this one, a lot of people have seen that online use this one. The
yes.
K1000.
The K1000 Pentax is also a fantastic camera. Again, you really can't go wrong either way. There's not that much difference between these two cameras when it comes to a beginner, you know, because all you really need to do is you need to learn how to use, you know, your shutter speed, your ISO, and then here on the lens, your f-stop. Yeah, so that's everything. That's the whole camera. There's a couple of little things, but that you don't really need to know about. That's the one that I recommend for you.
It's a beautiful camera. Yeah.
I love the old version of the Canon logo. It's just it's beautiful.
Based on what Wesley just walked me through, it seems like all of these cameras that we just saw are good options for me as a beginner. I kind of like this black design. I think this is the one I'm gonna try as my first analog camera. And the next thing we're gonna do right now is we're gonna find a place where we can get some batteries that goes in here, I think. And then we're gonna buy some film roll, and he's gonna teach me how to load my first roll. Let's do it.
About him, he's a photographer but has only ever shot digital.
You just bought this right now here?
Yeah, I'm buying it now. Hey, what do you guys think of this as the first camera?
That's good, bro. This is the first camera I started off.
That's the one.
Yeah, but I used a program, the AE-1 program. They have them like right
What is the difference?
It's just like a different. I guess it's like a different model, and like it had just different programs that it has inside of it, like just different capabilities. I don't know.
No?
I mean,
What's the difference between the
AE-1 and the program?
This one's black.
Yeah. But that's good.
I'm pretty sure the program had like different other capabilities.
What's your first analog?
Yeah.
Man,
It's like the best.
It's gonna be the best. You just
Cool.
gotta rely on manual light.
And then I'm gonna pick every shot a bit more carefully.
Yeah.
Okay. Hola. Wesley, I need you for this. We talk about film. I need the color.
Yeah, I think we should buy a bunch of rolls, 5 rolls of Kodak Color Plus, which is a cheap consumer grade film and great to start on, and I love it.
Yeah. I shouldn't get a black and white while we're here, just for the future.
Yeah, just get 2 black and whites. What is that?
Six.
Yeah, Acros is a great stock, but it's a little more expensive since you haven't ever shot it before. So let's just get some Kodak Color Plus and some Ilford black and white.
Now we are buying a used camera, right?
Yes.
How do I know if this is cool?
We have to trust him.
Yeah? That's it? Okay, let's do that. We got the battery, we got the rolls, everything in one stop. So if you're in Mexico City and you need some analog cameras, go support this guy.
What's the name of the store?
Boutique Fotográfica.
I'm excited to try this. Also, we have the GoPro, as usual for my videos. and then we can mount it here so I can show you guys my point of view of also doing analog photography, which is going to be very interesting. 1000. I don't know.
First roll of film ever for Frederick. Kodak Color Plus 200 because it's bright here today in Mexico City, and this is a cheap film, only $3 for a roll here, and it is quite forgiving. So we're gonna see very cool vintage kind of packaging. This is what the roll looks like, and we're gonna teach you how to load a roll of film. We're gonna pull on this gently. Whoop. It opens up, and then I'm gonna put this in, push this in as well back so that the roll doesn't move. Pull on the film, stick the film right here, try to get it in there so that it catches. So what you're doing is you're rolling it on there so that it sticks. Now we know that it's on, we can close this. This little guy moves when you wind it, which shows you that the roll is actually catching. Watch this little guy here.
What is the shutter count on now?
Now it's on 0, and you can go to 1, but it's also kind of fun to leave it at 0, and sometimes you catch like a half of a photo, and that can be a fun little lucky accident. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. So now we're gonna talk about just a few of the super basic settings. Shutter speed meter here. We have, this is set to auto. This is where the f-stop is determined. This camera is a shutter speed priority camera. So while you can shoot this in full manual, I'm actually shooting this right now on shutter priority, meaning the camera itself will determine which f-stop it shoots at based on the available light and the shutter speed that we put it on. On the lens, we also see, of course, the distances to choose where your focus is, and that's all of it, really. That's it. And now, let's see, we can do, yeah, beautiful. I think it's Frederick's turn to take his first photos.
All right, let's do it.
So Frederick, let me check that you know what you're doing.
I think for my first photo and for my Fuji as well, I like to shoot a shutter speed around 125th to 250. So I think that's what I'm gonna go with here as well. I think that's a safe place for me to be at. 125th of a second, auto aperture, and ISO 200. Well, now we have the settings, the exposure I think I can work with. It's the focus. And I'm not used to shooting in manual focus. Sometimes I do it at night, but I always use autofocus when I shoot at daylight. So that is a good question, how I'm gonna deal with that. And of course, the higher the aperture, like if I have an aperture of maybe, let's say 11, then it's easier for me to focus. But if I go all the way down to, what can this go down to actually? 1.8. 1.8, then it's gonna be a trickier focus. Let's try it out.
Your first ever photo.
My first candid street
That
portrait.
means that that lady is your muse,
Yes.
official muse.
Thank you. I had a good feeling about it. I saw her coming in and the focus was fine. She didn't walk too fast, which is good for me. I have a good feeling about it. There we go, much better. As you see here, I have some trouble in getting my focus right and getting it quick. So every street portrait takes a couple of more seconds than they usually do. Okay, so there's this woman over here, you can try look at her. She's kind of in the shadow, so I think I'm gonna go with something like 125th. Perdón, ¿puedo tomar tu foto? Muchas gracias. ¿Cómo se llama? Federico, mucho gusto. Y el final. Gracias.
What did the meter say when you were doing that?
That's a good question. As you see in this one, I actually nailed the focus of this guy sitting in there reading, but I exposed for the building behind him, so yeah, his face gets really dark, and that is gonna be my ongoing problem. I'm on a roll now. And for this guy sitting here getting his shoes shine and talking in his phone, I think I exposed for his forehead, which is a lot brighter than the rest of his face, which gives you this result. Oh, perdón. And here I'm doing the exact same thing again. The background is very bright, and this is the outcome, right? A really dark subject and a perfectly exposed background.
Okay, Frederick, how many photos left?
I have shot 18.
18, okay.
We have 20 in a row.
36.
36? We're halfway.
It's a big newbie mistake.
And here I'm testing the run and gun capabilities of an analog camera and my skills, and I actually think it turned out pretty well.
Wow, so many people.
Just my Bruce Gilden style. So Wesley, what do you think about Bruce Gilden up in public on YouTube?
You know, it's definitely a legend. Definitely a legend.
Pardon, ¿puedo tomar tu foto? Perfecto. Mucho gusto. Oh, perdón. Buen día. ¿Puedo tomar una foto de ti con todo? ¿Solo tú? Okay. This is a pretty good place for street portraits.
Yeah, so many people.
¿Puedo tomar tu foto? Yo fui al gente de México. ¿Está bien? Gracias, buen día. She was super nice.
No, por eso no puedes ir grabando. Por favor, güero.
How many?
36 left.
Take a rooftop shot. You gotta get some of those horizontal far away shots in. Right here with this tree.
4 shots left.
How does it feel? Your first.
I actually think it works. I thought it would be more difficult to get into, I think. But I think a lot of the times, yeah, I haven't seen the photos yet, so that's easy to see. But I think the focus is getting easier or faster for me. Perfecto.
You should take 2 photos of everything.
Yeah, I was so ready to take the photo. Gracias. I was so ready, but I was like, oh, I haven't loaded it. And I was like, wow, these guys are so patient holding their pose. But yeah, 2 photos per street portrait.
Just while you're starting, you know?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you might miss it.
So that's it for my first photo walk with a film camera, and it was really cool. And if you follow me on Instagram, you have seen that I've already shot a lot more photos like these. So yeah, I'm getting hooked, and I think I want to make a series on my YouTube channel where I go all in on analog and film photography. Let me know if you guys are cool with that. Thanks to Wesley for showing me what film photography is about. And if you're interested in analog photography and you want more content about it from someone who knows a lot more about it than I do, then check out these YouTubers over here. He was like, what is it for? He was really sweet, and he was like a bit uncomfortable, I think.
That happened.
Yeah.